But we so appreciate you coming tonight because we feel like this is a really important topic, very timely topic that the board and the district are very, very concerned about student safety. And we want you to understand what we're doing in our schools, and we want to hear your comments and your questions. And so that the more information out there, the better. Because we find that in something like this with school safety, the more information even parents have, the better that they can help us. It'll be great for you to know what we're doing too, so that you can help us provide a safe environment for our kids and our employees. We're going to turn the time over to Scott.
Susan, thank you very much. It's a privilege to be here this evening. My name is Scott Thomas. I'm the Administrator of Auxiliary Services in Jordan School District, and I'm pleased to be here and see this kind of response and have you out this evening so we can spend some time and talk about the safety and security measures that we currently have in Jordan School District. We're pleased to be here and have the board present and Superintendent Johnson. And we welcome all of you as well. What we were asked to do, and I guess I can go on for a couple minutes and just give you a little bit of a perspective here on all of this. Today marks the 1-month anniversary of the tragic incident at Sandy Hook Elementary. And so we immediately, I don't think there's anyone, and I'm just going to speak for all of you, I don't think there's anyone in this room right now who can say they haven't had a serious conversation in the last month, either with yourselves, your family, neighbors. I know we have with parents, patrons, students, teachers about school safety and what it means to us. And I guess I'll even go as far as to say this, if anything good comes out of a tragedy, I think it gives us all a pause and an opportunity to sit back and really evaluate our process and where we are individually, as a community, and as, it's part of our school system. Where are we in terms of safety and security, and what are we all doing to come together? I had an opportunity, and I know that Terry, the superintendent, all of our administrators, all of our principals were engaged in meaningful dialogue and collaboration with our patrons, talking about, it was wonderful to hear from parents, and they would call and they say, what are you doing to keep our kids safe in schools? And some parents would apologize, and I'd say, to parents, don't ever apologize for being great parents and great advocates for our kids. We need to hear and we need to demonstrate. It's our job to show you how we are keeping our students safe in Jordan School District. So I just wanted to start with that. We immediately went to work and we started listening to parents and taking their suggestions and in essence doing a survey and asking them what kinds of things would you like to see in our schools, and educating them a little bit about the things that we do currently have in our schools. Jordan School District enjoys many, many benefits, safety and security measures that we currently have in place, and those are some of the things we'll go over this evening. So I don't know if I have a format or not, Susan, but what I'd like to do is take the next 10 or 15 minutes. Is that appropriate? And then open up the floor for you to answer, to ask any questions that you might have or any comments, and we'll try to address those. Before I begin, I just want to let you know that we have spent the last 2 days as a district having a training and review, a safety security training and review for every school administrator and head custodian, and that has been a very, very positive experience. It's been nice to have them in with all of our municipal fire and police. It's been a great collaboration time for us to get together and not only showcase what we're doing, but to really get down to examining, is what we are doing, is it effective in our schools, and are we doing the right thing? And I'm happy to report to you that we get thumbs up all the way around from at least our municipal fire and police, West Jordan, South Jordan, Unified Fire and Police. They're very, very pleased with the efforts that we make in Jordan School District, and we obviously enjoy that partnership with them. About 2 weeks ago, the board gave us a directive, and they said, we want you to leave no stone unturned, and we want you to meet with us immediately and put together. We want to see and review everything that we are currently doing in Jordan School District so we can report back to our constituents and illustrate to them or demonstrate the things that we are doing. And so we were given that charge, and we met last Tuesday, I believe it was Tuesday evening, and spent some time. So I'd like to give you a review of what we talked about. One thing that we wanted to do, and I think this was important to demonstrate or illustrate, thank you very much, Amanda. We wanted to talk about our continuum of safety and security measures in the school. So for the next few minutes, I'd like to focus on the left side here and talk about the things, and basically this is where we are as a school district, and then later we'll jump over to here, and that's basically where we could go. And you all have a packet. Does anyone not have a packet? Let's get you one. Steve? Thank you. Anyone else? And you can follow along because I know this is kind of hard to see up here. First of all, some areas that we think we excel at. All of our schools enjoy the benefits of having a safety committee, a safe schools committee in their school. They are assigned to each location. They're comprised of certified staff, classified staff, administrators, and our local municipal fire and police. They also participate as part of those safe schools committees. Their responsibility is to plan and make recommendations for safe schools implementation within the schools, and we think right now we're totally satisfactory in that area. We know that they are actively engaged in that. Do any of you sit on a safe schools committee in your schools? No one? Oh, good, okay. In what capacities?
Well, I actually work for the city of West Jordan, and I sit on the Safe School Walking Committee, and I actually approve those walking.
Oh, good. Okay, great, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see, what committee are you on?
We just rest for the safety committee. I represent the PTA and the school committee council.
At which school?
That is
Eastlake, okay, all right, great. And so are you pleased with the planning that they do? I mean, are you
Oh, yeah.
good. Well, we think we do a good job here as a district. Background checks, for those of you that don't know, all employees, substitutes and volunteers are mandated to go through a very extensive background check before they're allowed to come in our schools and work with our students. We also believe we're totally satisfactory in that area. As I mentioned earlier, we enjoy the benefits of having school resource officers that are assigned to each of our middle and high schools, and then we have DARE officers, as you are aware, in our elementaries, and they kind of spread that out a little bit. And they share those DARE officers. We also have really unlimited access to our police officers, and we call upon them for drill practice and those kinds of things to come in. They even do tactical training in some of our schools, and so we enjoy those benefits. And we think we're satisfactory there. I'd like to take a few minutes and talk about access control and surveillance. About 10 years ago, it was a district mandate. The board said that we would come out and we'd start wearing ID badges, and we did that for a few years. And then we moved to card access on all of our doors in our schools, so our ID badges became an ID plus an access badge to get into our schools. And initially what we did is we went out in this first phase of this initiative is we put four card access doors in the elementaries, 6 at the middle school, and 8 at the high school, with the idea being that everything else would stay locked during the day except for the main front door, and that teachers and staff would use their cards to get in those doors. Well, because the schools were so used to having all of their doors unlocked during the day and all, unfettered access, they said, we want more. We want more of our doors accessed because Coach so-and-so needs to get in over here, and this teacher needs to get in over there, and our lunch ladies. So we went to work again and went out and started to outfit many, many more of our doors. We're about now, we think between 85 and 90% of all of the exterior doors in Jordan School District are card accessed. Okay, so we feel really good about that. The challenge is this. Sometimes, and we all are in the same boat, sometimes after a while people get a little bit laxed in how they manage those things. And so what we find is over time, instead of locking those doors or scheduling them, it's just easier to keep them scheduled open from 7 until 3. And many of you are out in the schools, so I'm not going to tell you anything you don't already know or couldn't find out on your own, but how many of you by raise of hands can walk into your school and not go through the main door and find an open door around the school somewhere? Some of you? Okay. We want you to go through the front door, but if your schools are staying locked up like they should be and like they have the ability to do, please thank your principal. Please go in and thank them for a job well done. But we do have that capability, and so that's what we like people to do. We think we could improve in that area. Also, the use of ID badges. This is really for you as patrons and for the safety of your students. All employees, Jordan School District employees, should have this district-issued ID badge on, and this is really our identification. When we're out in the schools and we're talking about principals and teachers, if for example, if you walked into my school and you didn't have this ID badge on and you weren't walking to the main office, it would really be my responsibility to come up and approach you and say, hi, here's who I am, could I please give you some direction? We really, really reinforce that today. So we think we could do a little better job in that area of making sure, people lose them, they forget to wear them, and we just need to continually stress the importance of how this really is extremely important. This really makes a big difference. We think we could improve in that area. Incident command training systems. Approximately 14 years ago, we started to implement what we call incident command systems, and it was a training. And basically what the district did is we brought some specialists in. Has anyone been involved in the incident command process at your schools or aware of them? Anybody? You've seen it work? It really is a fantastic. Did you say you did?
I worked for the fire department, so I know what the...
Okay, and your impression?
It works great. It's
Good.
Good flow of communication, up, down. You don't have 20 people in charge at one person. Everything can flow. You have designated responsibilities.
Great, thank you for that. I appreciate that perspective. What we did is we brought some trainers in to show us what would be a good incident command process, and in a nutshell, I'll try and explain it to you. The district provides a template or boilerplate for the schools, and basically it says, here's a format. You'll have an incident commander, you'll have a public information officer, you'll have all of these different security, all these different positions, and everybody in your school, every staff, every teacher is assigned, they're given a safety security assignment. So that when we do drills, when we do evacuations, when we do lockdowns, shelter in place, we do all these things, everybody knows exactly what their job is. As a teacher, my job might be to sweep this hall or check that bathroom or check this back door before I lock down. Everybody has an assignment, and those plans are individualized to each individual school. So the principal spends a lot of time with their safe school staff and their staff training in incident command procedures. And I'll just give you a really quick example. You remember about a year and a half ago, who would have thought that we would ever have a plane crash on one of our school grounds? But we did at Columbia Elementary. And I'll tell you what, I still get a little bit emotional talking about it because I remember where I was. I got the phone call and I looked at my watch and it was 11:30. We got word there's been a plane crash at Columbia Elementary. Well, you can imagine what I'm thinking. What happens at 11:30 in an elementary school? What? Yeah, lunchtime, kindergarten, recess, everybody's busy doing their stuff. Sorry, Terry, that was me. I was holding the button down. I get excited and sorry. And so my heart sank, I rushed over, and by the time I got there, we saw some incredible things happen. We saw a real life incident command process go into play. Principal Kathy Riding, she was on it. I mean, I can't even, she's still one of my heroes. I can't imagine how she even had her wits about her. But she went into incident command mode. She was taking care of the kids. School went into lockdown. Teachers had their assignments. It was like a ghost town in there. I was walking around in the halls. I couldn't access the kids. Parents are out front demanding their kids. We quarantined it off. I mean, everybody had their assignments, and it was really kind of a neat thing to watch. And one by one, volunteers, PTA, teachers would go out, they'd get the parent's ID, they would take it into the school, they would find the child, they would walk them out and hand deliver the child to the mom. We did that for hours, and it was really a neat process to watch. So if you ask me if it works, I'm going to tell you it does. Yesterday, right after one of our trainings, we got a word that West Jordan High School, we saw this on the news, had gone into lockdown. Anyone see that last night? Had gone into lockdown. We immediately responded. We went over. Principal Argyle, front and center. I mean, school locked down. Police officers doing their job. Within minutes, literally minutes, they had apprehended the two suspects, brought them down to the office. Lockdown was lifted. So we can't stress enough the importance of the incident command training. One thing that we really want to improve upon, however, is our routine drills and practice. There's nothing more important to us than we know the drills that we need to do, and we sometimes we think we're doing those, but we don't always report them. So we've worked with the administration. You've got to do those drills, and you need to report them on a regular basis, because we report those drills to state risk management and acknowledge that we've done those. But we do. We have the fire drills. We have shelter in place, lockdown, earthquake drills, bomb threat drills, and we have the ability to lock our schools down. We think we could make some improvements there as well. One thing that I want to bring to your attention, check-in and check-out procedures. By state code, all visitors are required to report to the main office when they visit and go in and sign in. We think we have a lot of improvement to do there because that's a safety and security measure. As we went out and observed, we notice about half or less than half of the people, we become very comfortable in our schools. And you know, sometimes as parents, sometimes as teachers, as staff, it's inconvenient for us to walk in and take 30 seconds to sign in or get a visitor badge. We know our way around that school, and you know what? Let's just walk in and go take care of business, because schools are places of business. We have business to conduct. Need to get, you know, Timmy his lunch money, and I need to do this, and so forgot their coat, and so we have to stop people. We have to redirect them and get them to sign in. And like we talked to our administrators either yesterday and today, it's very important for them to ask for identification. And one of the comments was, well, sometimes parents don't have it with them, or they're very upset when we ask. And my response was, that's okay, we can live with that. I mean, you know, it's like when you go to the bank and you get to know your bank teller, and after a while they stop asking for ID because they know who you are. You're probably not going to want to ask your PTA president for their ID because they're with you every day and you see them. But you know, if a stranger walks in, you haven't seen them before, ask for their ID. That's reasonable, and we think we could make some improvements there as well. You know, we count on our public to follow the rules, and as a school, we need to be there to assist and direct and support as well. So these are all of the things that we currently have in place. Now, when we started listening to our patrons and our teachers, one thing that these are things that we took a survey, and these are things that they asked for. Now remember, over here, we are an open school, and we have some things in place to be safe and secure, but still conduct regular business. When we jump over here, we become much more restrictive, and I'd like to share this with you. We talked about secure check-in and check-out procedures where the school, the main entrance, is unlocked, but it's manned by police, security guards, or even parent volunteers. You walk in, there's somebody right there. I mean, right inside the front door, okay? They also talked about metal detectors, a screening process. So you can kind of see the philosophy now starts to shift a little bit, and you start to come up with a little bit different feel, okay? This becomes a little more restrictive. There are some ongoing costs for that, personnel costs and capital costs. Now we come over where our buildings become closed. Some suggestions where we want to see the exterior buzz in at the main office or at the main entrance, and a screening process with, you know, and any of the previous measures. Metal detectors becomes more costly, more restrictive. Now you've got parents who are used to walking in and conducting business. They're stopped at the main door. You have someone inside, you know, there's a camera, they buzz you in. And as I try to comprehend all of this, you've all been at your schools in the morning, and you've seen the business that's taking place as people are coming in and out of your buildings. Jan, we have a principal here. Is it a busy place in the morning? I try to comprehend what it would be like to buzz every one of those parents in on a morning when it's 0 outside and they have to wait to be buzzed in. I also wonder what happens if the secretary is busy with this, or somebody's on the phone and it takes a few minutes to buzz. So there's some concerns and challenges that we need to address. The other thing that we talked about are some building modifications. People were asking for more barriers, more doors, moving things. And you know, anything architectural or building modification wise becomes very, very expensive in terms of capital costs. And finally, it was suggested by some, but we wanted to get everybody's feedback, was to close our campuses. Fence them all off. You have guard stations and gates, and nobody even gets on campus without checking in and checking out. So these are all things that you know, we look at as a school district, our board examines, and we were able to present this to our board, give them feedback. Here's what people are asking for, and you know what? They want their kids safe. And we can go anywhere in the world. We can go to school, church, the store, the movie. We can go anywhere, but you know, it doesn't matter, because we say, well, what is Harmon's doing to keep us safe when we go shopping at Harmon's? It doesn't matter. We're schools, and we're held to a higher expectation, because when you drop your kids off in the morning, you're trusting us with them, and our job is to keep them safe. So we're always going to be held to a higher standard, and we appreciate that, and we understand it, and we take that very seriously. So anyway, that being said, I want to show you a slide. One thing, there's a couple of things that we've done. In addition to this, we have enjoyed, the Board of Education several years ago said we want security cameras in our schools in addition to the card access. So we went out and we're now starting our third phase of digital cameras throughout the district. They go in phases. We do them for 3 years and then another 3 years, and we just keep upgrading our equipment. But for the next 3 years, we'll be installing the third generation of cameras throughout our district, and we appreciate our Board of Education making it abundantly clear to us over and over that there's nothing more important than the safety and security of our children, our staff, and our patrons. In addition to that, and this was pre-Sandy Hook, but I wanted to show you, we've piloted this at Jordan Hills Elementary. If I can situate you here in this slide, you're standing in the breezeway in the front door, so you're between two doors. And this out here that you can see, and this is in your packet, is the third set of security doors. And basically we call them security or directional doors because here they are here and they direct you right into the office. So you don't have the ability to just bypass the office and go wherever you want. We, again, the Board of Education, as part of our ongoing capital outlay process, making safety and security making it a priority, has dedicated some funds for that, and that will also be a 3-year rotational item that will be going into all of our elementary schools and implementing that feature as well. So that's exciting. We're excited about it. As you can see, there's no handles on the outside. I guess, however you want to call it, the inside or the outside. People have to go in here, they can come out this way, and so it doesn't intrude with the evacuation process. They're fire code rated, and so we're excited about that. Is it a deterrent for an intruder? No. Could someone shoot through this? Absolutely. People are going to do what they want to do, but is it another safeguard? And we believe it is, so we're excited about that. What I'm going to do now, and I can go on and basically go through our presentation, but could I take a few minutes and answer any questions that you might have or any comments that you have? Yes?
I have a concern with portables.
Mm-hmm.
My son's in portable, and after this incident, and there's no security cameras back there, because I've checked and I've asked.
Okay.
After this incident, in order to leave, the doors are now locked all the time. In order to go to the bathroom, they have to go into the main school.
Mm-hmm.
To get to the main school, they don't have anybody walking with them, but there's children that are close by the door, because you have to have card access, that let them in and out. I have a problem with that. They have a peephole and a secret knock to get back into the school.
Okay.
But after you have 30 kids having to go to the bathroom throughout the day, that lasted 1 day.
Mm-hmm.
And the teacher's like, no more, you can only go to the bathroom at recess. My concern is coming back and forth from the portable, and, there's no cameras, and the kids that are manning the door, people that are manning the door are children.
Well, let me tell you how we have addressed that and how we will in the future. Let me address the peepholes first of all. We went through and we did. We thought we're patting ourselves on the back and saying, hey, let's put peepholes. That'll make it convenient. Teacher can look out and make sure there's not an intruder. We do encourage our teachers. We do more than encourage. We ask them to keep their doors locked, their classroom doors locked during the day, especially out in portables, because you're a little more vulnerable out in a portable. So what we've done is we've gone back, and we are going back and drilling a second peephole that's lower so they can see see a student that's out there. As far as card access goes, what we've done is if they call us, if the principal calls us and asks, like that teacher wants a card access as a hall pass, that way they can give it to the student can go in, and we don't have to let somebody let them in. They can actually use the card access and get into the school to go to the bathroom. We don't want to prohibit anybody from going to the bathroom or limiting them on that. We don't want to do that. For the future, here's where we anticipate going with portable classrooms. Right now, it's very difficult to run the infrastructure out to a portable for the card access and for the security system. Our information systems is currently piloting and looking at a wireless system so that we can put those things on instead of running the hard wire out to them. It's very, very difficult to do that.
Having the security cameras on the school,
Well, security cameras should already be on the school. If you identify a place, and they're pan cameras.
Right.
So on your school, if you identify, or even go in and ask your principal, does that camera hit this area? And if it doesn't, we'll either go out and adjust it, or we'll install one, because we want to make sure there's no blind areas. We can do that. Yeah, those things are supposed to be tested, so we appreciate that feedback. And if you recognize one that's not,
They're not there.
yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
In most cases, they're basically on the corners of all the schools. So if you've identified a blind spot, please let us know and we'll address it. Thank you. Other questions?
I'm not to harp on the portables, but I feel like, in everything you presented, it wasn't mentioned once. And yet for me, all of this is moot because of portables. So we have 6 portables, and they are at the back of the school. Nobody ever walks around to the front. So not only is it the access issue, but kids are unsupervised. Children are unsupervised as they're going from the portable to the school. And when you talk about intruders, that's the perfect place for intruders.
Sure.
So I feel like everything else that's great. We're talking about everything else, but really the point for someone who has bad intentions is going to be back to portables.
It could be, yeah, you're right. And so let me talk about portables. Portables are a challenge, and they're part of a growing school district. I know we've had portables forever, and it seems like every year our portable inventory just keeps going up. We do more and more portables because they're a quick alternative to rapid student growth. In the future, would we like to eliminate some of the portables and kind of do a portable reduction plan? We would love that. We hope to get there someday. In the meantime, portables for us are a reality. And so what we try to do is build them to the same, the interior now. When we build a portable, we put the audio enhancement and all those things in that we're doing. And so we are working towards making them more secure. But you're right, and no one can disagree with you. Are you kind of out there a little bit? You're isolated from the school, and you are. And that's just, really that becomes part of the incident command process for each school. How do we identify and deal with those issues regarding our portables? I think a couple of our elementaries have many. Which school are you referring to? Monte Vista. And they have 6 portables? Okay, and I know the configuration that you're talking about. So, one thing that I think we could do, or that I'd recommend, is you work with the principal there. Is it Catherine Anderson?
Meredith Goliath.
Oh, Meredith, that's right. Meredith's there. I'm sorry, that's at Jordan Ridge. Meredith is a wonderful principal, and I think you need to sit down with her and say, in terms of portables, show me on your incident command plan, how are some of these things being addressed? And again, if you have concerns as parents about the safety and security of the portables, or you feel like there's blind spots, or we could do a little more, let us know. We're happy to go out and evaluate that and look at it and work with you. I appreciate your feedback.
If they have ideas, not just concerns. If you have ideas.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm a teacher that teaches in a portable. And that's why we're here, because we are concerned about the safety of portables. But to be honest, very seldom, when I'm in the school, I see lots of parents coming and going that haven't checked in. Never do I see parents walking around the back of the school, so if that puts you at ease at all. Yes, it's a place of concern, but I feel safer in the portable than I do in the building with my door locked. And the issue I have with the portable is the re-entry, the in and out, the in and out, the in and out, having to keep the door locked. Those students do need the access to the restroom.
You're right.
And at this point, I don't have a peephole on the door, so we are
You-
secret knocking. It's
There's not even
This is the normal knock.
so there's not even the higher one. There's no.
They're putting them in. They're in the process.
Oh,
of
okay.
it, but it's not there yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Not yet. And so I know that ours are wired for card readers.
Mhm.
We would really like that card reader because it limits the distraction to instructions with kids in and out of the classroom really constantly to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
And if the card reader could just be on the portable so they can buzz into the building when they use the bathroom, but back into the portable when they use the reenter. So that way you don't feel like you're sending them out and
Sure.
who's knocking and who's.
And you have to wait by the door while you're trying to teach.
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. There's no way.
Sure.
I got pretty few third graders that, they have to go to the bathrooms all the time. And if we do have the card readers going to would be my door because we would have this all.
You would.
And so if we could get the card readers on those portables, that was the first thing that we thought of when we, I don't know what the expense is going to be for that, but.
It's going to be an expense, but you can't, that is something that is in the works. And I hate to say that. I hate to say to any group of people, yeah, we're working on it. But truly we are. Information systems, they're piloting it right now, and we're trying to find a system that's compatible with our existing systems so they can match up and make it wireless. Wired systems, trying to trench out to every portable at this point, and then we move them all the time. So the wireless system, something is in the works, and thankfully technology is catching up with what we're doing. And so if you'll bear with me, and what do you say if you see a parent out by the portables? Do we approach them and say, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to ask you to go back in, check in, and do this the right way? And that's inconvenient for some people, but we've kind of adopted a philosophy that we've had for a long time, and that is, convenience should never trump safety. And so, you are going to come across some folks that are put off by going through the process, but we've all agreed, at least the administrators are going to go back and work with their staff, we need to be more vigilant in making people go through that process. Thank you. I appreciate your comment. Let me talk to you about the process that as teachers, patrons, parents, things that we'd like you to do when it comes to portables, fences, cameras, those kinds of things. We have a process that we go through, and it's a work order process. If you can talk to your principal, because I'm not going to remember all this tonight, but talk to your principal and say, I went to a town hall meeting, I talked to Scott Thomas. Could you put a work order in? Because then what that does is then we bring risk management out, we bring maintenance out, we're able to look at the situation, test it, and see what we need to do. So we're happy to evaluate those kinds of things, and would be more than happy to do that. Anything safety and security is not a special project. That's all funded by the school district. Thank you. Question?
I have one. My student goes to West Jordan Elementary, and I really feel like anyone can walk in at any time and not really be noticed at all. But we have an open classroom there, so the teacher's doors aren't locked. It's all open. There's no doors to lock. And that worries me. So I know you talked about where we could go. Are we going to go there?
Well, we're going to do some things immediately. The board is going to continue to evaluate where we are. We want to gain compliance. We want to gain very, very good compliance with the systems that we have in place before we move on to more restrictive measures. What we want to be able to do is report to our board and to our patrons that, hey, we've done A, B, C, and D, and we're there, and we're still having issues before we go on down the road. But I think to address your concern, West Jordan Elementary has a very unique floor plan. And you're right, you can actually walk into the main office and you can bypass, the office doesn't even see you, and you do still have the open classroom concept. This summer, we are coming in to put security doors, I think in grades K, 1, 2, and 3 last summer.
They're not locked though.
They're
still open all the time.
Are they? But could they be locked?
They could be locked.
Okay. I think you may start seeing some changes after the last 2 days in terms of your administration coming back and working with the local Safe Schools Committee to do those things. We're going to complete the other grades this year.
Well, I have a question too. I know you talked about the buzzer in the morning, and it's too busy maybe to do that, but after, 9, pretty much it's done. So, I mean, it seems like there's already something,
Card
thing in
swipe.
place. I don't see what the harm would be to just lock it up and buzz to get in.
After the busy. One of the things that we discussed with our administration was basically card access is a great tool. It really is, and it doesn't solve all the problems, but the thing that we have, the ability that we have with these basically is, and I know that, the elementaries, it's a little easier to keep things locked up. The middle schools become a little more of a challenge, and we've all been to a high school. They're little cities, good luck there. And so here's what the principal said at a high school: well, how do you expect me to lock all my doors and still conduct business during the day? And the response to that was, our goal is to maximize life safety and minimize access. So we understand at a high school that you might have 30 exterior doors, and we're not expecting you to keep every one of them locked, but maybe keep 25 of them locked and have 5 of them open, and schedule those doors so they're open in the morning but then locked during certain times. And I think we're getting there because we have that ability.
You've got a pool of volunteers out there. You've got retired police, retired military. You've got other security people you can call on that you don't have to pay.
Sure.
You have to ask, put out the word and ask.
Mm-hmm.
But they're there. I live right across the street from a retired Army guy. He's great. Down the street, retired Marine. So all of whom have our children's interests at heart. So you've got a pool of volunteers here that I think are untapped.
Yeah, I appreciate all of those comments. And we talked about volunteers, and you've been through the process, so you know, we have a gold mine in our volunteers. I don't think we would survive without the volunteers that come in our schools and help. Can you help with safety and security in the schools? Absolutely. And again, I think it boils back to going back, addressing the administration, saying, can I be involved in your Safe Schools plan? Can I see where we're at? What is your volunteer plan for your incident command, and could we be a part of it? I would doubt that any administrator would say, no, we don't want you out helping us with playground duty or bus duty in the morning, or making that presence for others to see. So, thank you. People are afraid. Like I said in the beginning of this presentation, really these tragedies give us all pause and an opportunity to sit back, and it's been a very emotionally charged thing for everybody. I think parents have sat back. Like I said, all of the parents, I probably talked to 40 parents, and there was only one guy that wanted to pick a fight with me. The others were very, very good and said, we want to keep our kids safe. What can we do? How can we help? And I'll tell you, that's what impressed me the most, was people calling and saying, like you, how can we help? Not what are you doing, but how can we be part of the solution? And I really appreciated that. To me, that made a big difference. So when we talk about that, and are the students being talked to, I think not wanting to parent your child or anyone's child, but you know what's best for your child. No one knows them better than you do. And so I guess, that's something you want to talk to the teacher about, or the principal. At what point do we train and warn and educate? And then where do we cross the line into scaring and making people paranoid? Because 99.9999% of the time, life is great, we need to move on. And so you make a good point.
This portable issue and this issue with your safe kindergarten, I'm assuming first grader, this touches me a lot. I participate in a program called the Rad Kids Program. What this program is it's a safety education course based around, or actually let me say it. It's a life skills course based around safety education. We don't just talk about, oh, this is a stranger, stay away. We go through every detail in a week, giving the kids confidence. I say to the kids the first thing, who's the most important emergency? And not one of them can raise their hand and say, I am. Not one of them when they enter that class. And by the end of the week, when I say, who's the most important emergency, they say, I am. And they know they deserve to get help. I'm not with my daughters every second of the day. I'm not with my sons every second of the day. My daughter is with herself 24/7. So if my daughter needs to be safe, then my daughter needs to know how to keep herself safe. And that's what the class is based around. I get very passionate about this. And when you said here a month ago exactly there was an incident in Sandy Hook, well, less than 2 weeks ago at my school, a child was assaulted and they knew what to do. And they stopped an assault and they got help. 2 weeks ago, that was one student.
They weren't
Was that at your school?
No, it was not at the school, no, pardon me, it was not at the school. But they learned at their school, no, thank you, Jen, it was over the phone. They learned at their school what to do. Now, never do we ever tell my kids in my class to go anywhere alone. There's no reason a kid should be walking from a portable alone. We talk every day about you always have a buddy returning from school, you have a buddy when you're out of the house, you have a buddy when you go to public bathrooms, because all these things happen. This class goes through every amount of safety for being home, to being in school, to being on your own. It does teach physical skills. It is qualified by Jordan School District as a PE credit. It counts because not only are we giving them the confidence to say this is what you do, but we're also giving them physical skills to say if something bad happens to you, this is what you do. So if my daughter's walking from a portable and someone approaches her and for some reason she's alone, she knows what to do. She knows how to react and she knows who to tell. Those are things that moms and dads want to teach their kids, but the conversation doesn't come up. We tell our kids every day, we always talk about the difference in the Rad Kids program than any other safety program is we don't tell them to do it, we show them, they read it, they write it, we talk about it, and we physically do it. So we don't say, if you get in a house fire, you get out of your house and call 911. We get them on the ground, we pretend that they're crawling out of a fight. They get to a phone, they dial 911. If somebody tries to take them home from school, I think the number one thing that's great for them is that we teach them about passwords. How many parents have passwords? Well, a lot of us think it's a great idea, but not very many of us think to tell our kids about it. And about 75% of my students, when they enter my class, do not have a password. So we practice it. We don't just say if some stranger tries to take you home, you use a password. No. I say to them, hey, your mom called. I try to trick them the way a stranger would. And they have the power to then go, you know what, get away from me. What's my password? You don't have my password? I can go somewhere and help someone. Now, I could go for hours about this program, and I love it. And Jan and Susan has seen it. I mean, they've seen it, but I'm a volunteer. I've taught every fourth grader that has gone through East Lake Elementary for the last 5 years. I've taught one class at Jordan Ridge Elementary when I had a son in Alps there. This program, it costs money to train instructors, but this program gives the child the power and the confidence to protect themselves. If there's an evacuation drill, and just like at Sandy Hook, we had 6 kids that left a classroom and didn't know where to go because their teacher was killed, they went to some guy's yard, they didn't know what to do. If they've been through this course, they know exactly what to do and where to go and how to get there. They didn't tell the guy because they were scared. They didn't know what to do. This program would have changed that situation for those children. It changed the situation on a home Christmas holiday for a little girl.
Tyler does a great job. She's a great ambassador for Rad Kids, but it's a powerful program.
Can I make a recommendation? We talked about self-advocacy programs like that. Jan, in our training, Ron Beauchard is putting together a tabletop exercise. Did you get that part in our training? And that's going to be in March. And basically, we're going to invite all of our local fire and police to come out, and all of our principals will be invited to attend. Do some school share in terms of prevention programs that they have in place. And I think that would be a great opportunity for you and Darla to come and present to other schools. I would imagine, are there other schools that you're aware of that are using that program?
There's nobody else.
Nobody else? That would be a great time. That would be a great time for you to come and share. I appreciate that, and I appreciate your passion for that. Thank you. We're raising a new generation. I know our parents said it, but we'll say it. It's a different world, and we're all in this together, and we face different challenges together. Where does concealed weapons permit? Thank you. Let me address that. We have district policy. It's called AA 409, scope of employment, and what that reads is, I wish I had it. Well, I'll just ad lib. Basically, what it says is, a dangerous weapon is not to be brought on school property for any reason whatsoever. However, can an employee have a concealed weapons permit? And yes, if they apply for that and they get that, they do so in their own capacity, individual capacity as an educator. As a school district, we don't promote, advocate, or provide that opportunity for them. They would do that in their own individual capacity. When we met with our local fire and police this morning, Chief Diamond got up several times and said, teachers, obviously by policy, if you did that in your own capacity, you could do that. And here's our concern. When we come into your building, and there's 30 of us, and we're looking for the threat, if we go into a classroom and we see a teacher with the gun out, we will shoot. They will shoot whoever has that gun. And so that's something for us as a school district and as a board. We've said by policy, there's nothing to prevent an employee from getting a concealed weapons permit. We take a very neutral stand. We don't encourage that. We don't advocate for that, but that's certainly within their right. They could, yes.
So their responsibility is still to stay with the...
Yeah, thank you. Was anyone interested in listening to policy? I just summarized it for you. What's that? It was a good okay, thank you. I've been checked.
Sorry. So their responsibility is still to stay with the students and not to go out and try and engage the shooter.
Correct. Yes, you're right.
As a teacher, the question I'd be asking is, what is my liability? What are my responsibilities if I bring this gun in?
Yeah.
I think there was a deal during Christmas break where they were offering that free concealed weapons permit down at the Maverick Center.
I know.
My concern is we get a bunch of teachers bringing guns in, and there's no, even though the state law says they can do it,
yeah,
there's no established, flow of this.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We were able to refer to that today in our training yesterday and today with all the administrators because they had a lot of questions and they made reference. We've heard of teachers or we know teachers who want to get concealed weapons permits. And we said, just make sure you're very, very clear on, scope of employment, that, in your own individual capacity, like anybody else could, you could go and get a concealed weapons permit. If you had one, you could walk into a school, but they're concealed weapons, and employees do it in their own individual capacities.
If
Yes.
a teacher chooses to get a concealed weapons license and to carry at school,
Mhm.
what is their responsibility to tell me as a parent that they're carrying? That they
We-
have that in the classroom, because I have a problem with that.
I appreciate that question, and I have an answer because we asked law enforcement. They don't have, because it's a concealed weapon, they don't have to tell you,
Even in a school setting.
even in a school setting, by state law.
Observation, if I could just make a comment here. I work at City Hall every day, and I work with Chief Diamond every day. I understand where he's coming from, and I understand where parents are coming from on concealed carry weapons basis. But I could have walked in here tonight, and this could have been my concealed carry. You need to understand that these people are not the threat.
Right, I'm just saying, but like, I don't let my child go play at someone's house
No.
that has a gun.
Sure.
Why would I let them go to school with the teacher? I don't know, I just think that that's.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point, is what happened at Sandy Hook was the kid walked in, what if it was the teacher?
He went through a window.
He shot windows out.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, whatever, what if, the problem, have a big gun,
Sure.
so the teacher,
I don't think so.
have a gun,
What's the step?
Yes.
We teach kids about that in Radford. We teach them, when you see a gun, what do? Everything. That's one of the simple steps we take, because in my family, I don't choose to have a concealed weapon. My husband has a permit, we can ride home, we hunt, I mean, big company, I went to high school, rifles in the back of the truck, and go straight to the mountains after, because that's just the way it was, really. But we teach kids about that. That's another thing where if we educate the children, then it doesn't matter if the teacher has a gun, because they already know the way that they are gonna behave when and if they ever see a gun in any setting. They know what to do.
Thank you. I hope that answered your question. Like you said back here, Chief Diamond, great resource, and he said that is a concern. Trust me, they're as concerned as you are.